What started off as a small lie but ended up as this is my life now. One night in Vegas for a bachelor party, I got wasted and made a bet with a friend while we were out at the club. If you're wrong, you have to pretend to be British the rest of the night. I lost, and so I was British. A few moments later, I met a girl who started talking to me because she overheard me saying some BS to my friends in a British accent. She thought that I was British, and I went with it. I got intimate with the girl that night. But when I woke up with her the next morning, I realized I had to continue to be British. She said that we should hang out again that night. Sure. We met up that night and she brought all of her friends, who all think that I'm British. So I was British again but around more people. My friends were dying every time I spoke. One tried to be Australian around the girl's friends but was called out for being a fraud. My fraudulence continued to go unnoticed. I had to answer all kinds of questions about my life and childhood. I had never been to the United Kingdom. Fortunately, I was an English literature major and had watched 3 or 4 British movies. Mostly Monty Python. Thus, I was more or less an expert on all things British. Eventually, I got tired of doing the accent, so I started saying deliberately incorrect things about England to see if someone would call me out. Turns out that 21-year-old American women are too dumb to know a single thing about England, so they were incapable of pointing out my BS. I like to think that, to this day, 12 years later, there are girls out there who think that the British invented tea and only drink it on Wednesdays, that Cromwell was a benevolent leader who gave out free pheasant to the impoverished Irish, that James Bond was written by an Indian guy, and that the only reason that Brits are known to dress nicely is that it's illegal to not wear a tie on weekdays. The accent took over my mind so completely that when a guy in line at that restroom said something to me in a very clearly English accent, I instinctively responded in an English accent. He got excited. I realized what I had done, but just went with it and he introduced me to his mates. They mentioned that they couldn't pinpoint where I was from. I told them my mom was American and I lived half my life in Maine, and that's why I have a strange accent. Somehow they went with it. I brought the Brits back to our group, so now I had British homies. My friends couldn't believe it. I've entered British level 5000. So many level ups in so short a time. I got intimate with that girl again and even talked dirty to her Britishly. I said I'm arriving instead of I'm coming. The next morning, I admitted to her that I wasn't British. She didn't believe me and refused to accept that I was American. Whatever, I guess I was British for one more day. Thanks, Maggie, for the good time.